My name is Assala Mdawky. I'm 28, going to be 29 so soon. I'm from Tunisia, obviously. I come from the center west of Tunisia, the city where the revolution broke. So it's Gasoline. It's a very famous city for a lot of things. It's a revolutionary city. And it's also a very excluded city and marginalized place in Tunisia when it comes to economically, legally, culturally, etc. So also it has the mountains of Shambi, where a lot of events happened there when it comes to terrorist attacks just after the revolution. And it has the largest number of martyrs. So I will never stop talking about Gasoline because it's a very symbolic place, and it's also it reflected a lot on what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing, I'm a queer activist. So I work mainly on the countering the discrimination and the violence lived by LGBTQI plus individuals in Tunisia. And I now mainly work with an international organization for the moment. I work with Lawyers Without Borders, the Belgium organization. I work in the mission of Tunisia, heading the program on LGBTQI plus rights. So mainly it's on facilitating the access to justice to queer people, influencing the public policies through advocacy and campaigning, and also on structuring and equipping the civil society organizations to jointly advocate for the LGBTQI plus rights as a main component of human rights and individual liberties. So even the media and the public opinion and everything was monitored, and the access to information was monitored. So you find ways to know what's happening, like the books, the magazines, the underground movements, the organized communities, underground, and that's where I started. My political awareness started to be charged and more through that, and through also organizing with the student union and in the school and in the university. And I cannot say all of that without saying that I'm a queer person, and the fact that I'm illegal in my country also put me in the situation that I need to do something about it. So it's personal, political, cultural, everything. So the situation in Tunisia, just with the break of the uprising of September, January 2010 and 2011, and with what came just after it, people were not used to having the freedom of expression. People are not used to talk loudly about everything. People were not used that internet is open and you can see what's happening actually in the world. Civil society, the word we didn't hear of before, like now we have a very strong and big civil society organizations. The civic space became extended more and more, but now it's again going back shrinking, and we can talk about that. It was a mixture of many things, and it was a mixture of the rise of Jabha Shabiya, which is a front, popular front, a leftist popular front that gathered a lot of small political parties that are from the left, and it became an alternative for us at that moment because it was pushing for freedoms and liberties and human rights. And then with all of that happening, we witnessed at that moment like the assassination of its leader, Shukri Belaid, and also the assassination of Lebrahmi, and the assassinations of many other activists, and the disappearance and the detention, and like the far right was taken over the parliament and taken over the ruling, and from like the repression and the, let's say, the long-standing repression and dictatorship, in which like we have an image of the free woman in Tunisia, the free country, the happy country, and then, which is not true. Just after the revolution, we had a dictatorship, and the tools and the methods used by dictators all over the world is almost the same and shared. So this is the thing that they agree on. There were no freedom of expression, as I said, no media, the internet was controlled, and we didn't actually have, like, let's say, internet. So that you see the relationship between the governors, the ruling party, and the ruler and the ruled. So there was nothing in between. Like, there were no civil society, no media, no communication, nothing. Like, it was us here and a ruling group there. So the police violence was something nobody talks about, and the image of the police is that very corrupted person who take a lot of bribes, and once he's a police officer, he will have a lot of power, and if you need something, you need to be a friend with that police. So this is the thing. And I'm not talking about the people who disappear. I'm not talking about the people who try to talk, who try to do some tags, who try to spread some songs or to rap songs, let's say. So these people, either they are very anonymous, and once they find out who they are, they will kill them. The repression after the revolution became using the religion by the far-right parties, and using the media also by them, and taking over the parliament, taking over the government. But the repression also came from the law. So the laws that criminalizes people were very present at that time. Many laws that we never heard of became used, for example, assaulting a police officer. You can see that the laws are very repressive, and the laws are used by police and instrumentalized politically also, let's say, to repress any other alternative coming against what we have. They will also use Article 230, which criminalizes same-sex consensual relationships or intimacy, against everybody, but also against any activist who defends LGBTQI+ rights. So you can see that they will use things from your individual, they will use anything from they will use anything in relation to individual liberties, what we call for example, the freedom of consumption, the freedom of being who you are, equality, etc. They will use that against you. The people are victims to annual examinations to prove homosexuality. The people are victims of torture, of arbitrary arrest, of disappearance. Also, the law is very violated when it comes, for example, to law number 5, which regulates the arrest. So I'm gonna give like a little bit of context to what happens to HRGs and activists in general, and then I'm gonna share a little bit of my experience. So we have, in a way, in Tunisia, we have the criminalization of activism indirectly. So you don't have a law that criminalizes you to be active, but you have a lot of obstacles.
Yeah.
You have a lot of obstacles and traps who will make you criminalized in a way. So if you, as I said, if you are an activist and if you are voicing your community, or if you're trying to change the situation, if you post something online, you will have, for example, a law that will criminalize that. For example, we have this new law that was introduced after 25th of July 2021 with the coup, let's say, that was done by the president himself on changing almost the structure of the country, or say the government. We have this law which is Law 54, that criminalizes the spread of fake news on social media. So the forms of repression is very hierarchical. So you can see also the criminalization of activism through the fact that journalists, for example, in Tunisia are facing a lot of threats and a lot of repression. So you have the right to protest, but if you do that, we will find any way to repress you. You have the right to express yourself in the digital space, but we will repress you. There is a lot of monitoring of the digital space in Tunisia, a lot of control of social media. People are using some blogs and Facebook posts to put people in jail, especially the one opposing the regime. You have also, as I said, the laws that criminalizes people. For example, your situation as a migrant, if you voice yourself, you are in trouble, you will be deported. If you are an LGBTQI+ individual, you will go to jail for that. They will find any proof for that, even a condom in your car, or if they find a porn video on your laptop, and it happened on several occasions. And also, if you are a woman who's voicing herself, you will be defamed, and they will put a lot of cases on you when it comes to you as a woman. So you will be not only subject to sexism and discrimination, but, for example, I'm gonna give a brief case of a judge who was defamed to be like to zina, adultery, to commit adultery, and like, this is happening based on the profile of the person. So they will put cases on you in relation to your profile, and not talking about the hate campaigns that will happen against you. So, for example, in my case, in the past 4 years, I had once to move from one city to another. As a student, I was in the university. So to travel, to go camping, or to go to a protest, or to go anywhere, or to my hometown, once I'm stopped by the police for contrôle papier, to check my ID, and they will put my ID number in the system, it will appear that it's urgent, and they will arrest me, and they will take me to the police station to investigate me for hours and hours about my activities. So they will ask me, what am I doing? What am I active in? What do I defend? Who are the people with me? They will ask to check my phone, my relationship to LGBTQI+ movement and rights, my relationship to the human rights, civil society, if I know people abroad who defend that, where did I travel before. They will ask me also about my teachers in high school, middle school, my family, my brothers, my where I live, what am I doing. They will ask me everything. This whole thing stayed with me for 4 years. And if I want to travel abroad, of course, because this is monitoring of what I'm doing on a daily basis almost, they want to prove something against you in relation to your gender identity and expression and sexual orientation. And because in Tunisia, LGBTQI+ individuals are criminalized by the law, to prove the criminalization, they either need to catch you with someone, which is something that rarely happens, or they need just to find anything against you. And as I said, it's like a condom, a porn video, dating app, conversation, a photo, anything. Or just like your gender expression they don't like it. And for queer women, and also there is, as I said, the annual examination that is used by the legislative doctors with judicial order to examine the anus of people and see how big it is. Through the finger of the doctor, they will put their finger and to check, to ask, can you press, so that we see how big is it. They want to control the funds. They want to monitor the foreign funds because they think that people are conspiring against the country, and they are using this money to help political parties and to help many other groups that can be involved into terrorism and violence, etc. They do a shooting for protesters, and they are so close. They were civilian clothes, by the way. You cannot detect who is a police officer, except the ones that we know their faces. And they will be present everywhere to take photos of us in details. In protest, you can find police officers on the top of buildings with a very, very big camera, with a very big zoom to take every detail of our faces. Have you heard of the biometric passport? And yes. and ID. So in Tunisia, there is an introduction of this new mechanism. So we will have like the SIM card, the small SIM card, with all of our facial recognition, prints, DNA, etc. And you will hold it with you anywhere. And if you don't, they can automatically know who you are through the tools that they have. We witnessed that police are taking DNA of people. They are taking the prints, the DNA, some blood from the persons, and this is something that is super scary because they are taking the data of people. As I said, the cybercrime laws that we have in Tunisia. As I said, I repeat that it's because it's a new law. We need to highlight it that it is used. The law 54. It is used it criminalizes a lot of activities in the digital space, among which the spread of fake news. And what does it mean, fake news? It's something that the government identifies on their own. And generally, this law is used against bloggers, activists, cyber activists, politicians, journalists, political opponents, people from other parties, and it's used massively against everybody. So when it comes to the control of the digital space, as I said, the social media, apart from it's already monitored by these platform owners who have no moral obligation, let's say, in securing our data, but rather they are selling it to intelligentsia, and they are helping our governments to have access to this information to be used against the people. And the people, to be honest, there isn't a lot of awareness when it comes to the digital space, and there isn't a lot of consciousness on how it manipulates the minds of the people and how activists are also surveyed and monitored and tracked into seeing some stuff from other things. And it's important to raise awareness on this. We had many leaks of conversations that were recorded or that were used against leaders and political activists, in which you can hear in details a conversation happening between two people. And this puts a lot of queer people into a loop of anxiety and pressure and fear, and feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, in your own body, with your in your country. So people will be living into emotional. People will go through a lot of mental health issues due to all of that, and people will go also through how to say it. People will tend also to be sometimes, queer people in Tunisia sometimes will tend to be even violent towards each other because of the tension and the pressure, and violent with themselves to commit suicide, to do the self-harming, etc. The mental health is very important in this thing. For me also, as a person, I have been protesting in several manifestations and organizing with organizing is a word right now that can put me in jail, by the way, because also the organizing a protest, you can be condemned under the law that regulates terrorism. So if you are organizing with a group of people something, and this thing that is considered as affecting the order of the country, which can be a protest, you can go under investigation and you can get arrested based on the terrorist laws in Tunisia. So apart from that, being part of these groups that try to resist and try to make some change in the country, we are subject also to this kind of criminalization and to the criminalization of assembly and of protest indirectly. Because directly we say that we have the right to protest, we have the right to peaceful assembly. So, I mean, on the collective level, you can see sometimes that there are some organizations and associations and movements and collectives who started not being more collaborative when it comes, for example, to signing some communiques with us. So the number of the people who used to be more active and more visible is going a little bit down. You can see that people are trying to be low key, to preserve what they're at least providing the services, for example, to victims of violence and discrimination. You can see that there are some organizations that started to disappear or to leave Tunisia, especially the international organizations. But we are still able to talk and we are still able to express, and we have always the alternative ways, thanks to the solidarity between the groups and the repressed people. It is also important to note that we had a lot of gains in regards to hopefully we don't lose them. Personally, yes, in a way, with all what is happening, you need to be more careful. You need to be out of jail and not in jail to keep on doing what you're doing. So, in a way, there is an effect, an impact on what you're doing. You try to find other different ways to express yourself and to reach out to the government and to the people in more, let's say, secure ways and in more intelligent ways to protect yourself. But the mass arrests and detention of people, is inventing new ways to put cases on people. We have different methods of resistance, and this is, the path that we chose, and it has, and we are aware of the responsibility that we have, but at the same time, it's a choice, and sometimes it's not a choice, but it's a path that we chose, and we need to keep on doing what we're doing and finding new ways to resist and to push for the change for our country. It's a country that we love, and we want to see our country prospering, hopefully in the future. So, as I said, the solidarity is a tool that I believe in, that gathers people together and empowers people and empowers the society. I cannot talk about this without also mentioning the social movements, which is for me, especially community movements, which is for me one of the major groups that push for the change in Tunisia in terms of having the legitimacy to do so at first, and second in terms of honest and deep messages driven by the need to change and not with any other thing. So, and the civil society organizations as well as social movements, although they are very different in the structure, but it's important to note that organizations are gaining a lot of consciousness to collaborate more with social movements and to shape also this struggle altogether into a more powerful and a direct way. So